The views expressed are not necessarily those of KSCJ and Powell Broadcasting Company. This program is not intended to replace the advice of doctors or other clinical providers. Consult with your practitioner to ensure the proper course of action for you.
Welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well on AM 1360, FM 94.9 KSCJ. This program is dedicated to your mental health wellness and brought to you by Family Services, a United Way partner agency. Here's your host, Art Silva.
Good morning, Siouxland, and welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well. This show is all about your mental wellness and how you can help yourself navigate the daily highway of life. We hope to educate and motivate you to improve your mental wellness environment. I'm Art Silva, and our show is brought to you by Family Services, a United Way partner agency, serving the Siouxland community. Let me introduce our guest this morning, Executive Director for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Siouxland, Christy O. Good morning, Christy.
Good morning, Art. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. And let's talk about spring's coming.
It is?
We got track meets out there. So here we go. It's always a sign of spring when you get 57 degrees one day and snow the next day.
That is very true. The life of an Iowan.
I got you. So let's describe a little bit of your background, please, Christy.
Yeah, well, I'm a Siouxland native. I always tell people I've had a lot of luck here. That's why I haven't left here. I've had some opportunities to leave, but something's always, the universe or God or something's always kept me here. So I was born at St. Luke's Hospital in 1974 and was raised in South Sioux City. My parents were business people in South Sioux. My dad owned Milhans Liquor, and he also owned Miller Real Estate. So we had many real estate homes, and that's what led me, I think, to my not-for-profit, my paralysis to help people. My parents helped people. My dad, at the time of his death, owned 40 HUD homes in South Sioux City. So he wanted to rent to women who needed a leg up in life. He was always willing to help someone that needed a leg up in life and their children. So I think from the day I could remember, my dad was always instilling philanthropy and giving back. And worked in broadcasting for 5 years at KTIV. I'm a proud 98 grad of Morningside College.
Okay, Morningside.
I was half Chief, half Mustang while I was there. I was part of the vote when we did the name change. That was good. I worked, as I said, I worked as all the jobs at KTIV pretty much. I was behind the scenes and then eventually a reporter, an intern, and did the weather for 1 year.
I remember the days. I remember seeing you for sure. I used to watch you on the news.
So that was a great time and a great experience, great people up there. And then I got hired at Jackson Recovery Centers. Kermit Dolan took a chance on me to give me a chance as a fundraiser. Christy Finnegan, when I worked at KTIV, was working for Children's Miracle Network. She invited me to come on a couple donor calls, and apparently I took over a little bit. I was so inspired by the kids I just met, and then it's very easy to ask people for money when you see directly who it's helping. So she's the one that said, you should apply for this kind of entry-level fundraising job. I think you could do it. So all those years later, I think I was 22 at the time. I'm 49, almost 49. So
you got a big one coming up soon. Another year, huh?
Yeah.
Milestone.
Yeah, my last year in my 40s. So after working for Jackson Recovery for about 6 years, I went to the Diocese of Sioux City for 13 years, and I was the Director of Communications and Stewardship, so more fundraising, and my primary job was running the Catholic School Foundation. Giving children families the opportunity to afford Catholic education. So, and then Big Brothers Big Sisters came knocking in 2018. I had a little stint in political fundraising that wasn't for me, but I gave it a try, and I really believed in the candidate J.D. Schulten. So that was a good experience. But my heart and soul belongs in the hearts and souls of children in our community. So I'm where I should be.
It sounds like you didn't fall too far from the tree in terms of your philanthropy and caring for the community. Let's talk about your organization's mission and purpose, Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yeah. Big Brothers Big Sisters has been in the country for about 110 years. This summer, we will celebrate 45 years here in the Siouxland community.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to believe that we've served thousands of children in those 45 years. I mean, you guys are doing the same work that we are doing. But we are a mentoring program, so it's one-to-one mentoring. We match children age 6 to 13 with adults over the age of 18. So we're looking for positive influences in men, women, big couples, and big families.
Well, give me some numbers. How many children do you serve? And are they from the area?
They are. They're all local children. We serve children in Woodbury, Plymouth, Dakota, and Union County. So we're a 4-county area. And we serve about 200 children a year. And that's been down a little bit since COVID. One thing that's happened since COVID, we haven't had the bounce back with the volunteers, but we've had an increase of children that need services, which I know you can attest to. COVID really did a number on a lot of the kids in our community and across the country. So especially it seems, at least with us at Big Brothers Big Sisters, a lot of boys really just need that leg up.
Well, I'm Matt Silva, and you're listening to When Things Aren't Going Well, and our guest today is Christy Alt from Big Brothers Big Sisters. So, Christy, you talked about COVID, and COVID really hit a lot of agencies really tough. But more importantly, as we see coming out of COVID, the damage that was done to children, not connecting in school, being isolated.
Yes.
And we're dealing with that problem right now. Do you see that? What's the impact of COVID? You touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you see with the kids?
Well, I think it's COVID related, but also I think there's a whole variety of reasons why kids feel isolated and lonely. When a child comes into our program, we survey them and we're asking them things from, how are your grades? How's your attendance? What are your friendships like? What types of things do you want to work on? And we look for key words with kids. And the number one word since COVID has been loneliness. Kids as young as 6 years old are using the word, I'm lonely.
We're seeing the same thing over at Boys and Girls Home. School provides a connectiveness, and it also has a protective factor with kids being in school, doing the activities, having the social connection. I think it's tremendously underestimated what damage that caused. Kids are behind in reading scores. Kids are behind in their math scores.
Yep.
We're catching up and everything, but it did a lot. I don't think we anticipated this. And it took that pandemic to bring out a lot of the issues that kids are going through right now. So how many bigs do you need? How many children do you have?
I just checked our waiting list before I came over here, and we have 21 kids on our waiting list. 19 of those are boys. And the longest child that we've had on our waiting list has been waiting 3 years to be matched. So, some children are easier to match than others. When you have a big brother or big sister or big family that comes in, we do extensive interviews with the potential bigs, and we really get to know the kids and the potential bigs beforehand because we make meaningful matches. So if I walk in the door and say, I want to be a big sister, and we have little Sally on the waiting list, we aren't just saying, oh, great, can you guys just get together this weekend and do something? It can take months because the agency will really get to know me. They get to know Sally. What are our interests? What are Sally's struggles? Because if Sally has some struggles that I'm not equipped to handle, then it might not be a good match. We have quite a few teachers that are big sisters and big brothers in our program, which is wonderful because they have seen a lot of the struggles already in the schools. So they are really equipped to help kids that need a little bit more help than certain kids do.
Give me an idea of a visit or an activity, a big and a little. What type of things do they do?
That's a good question. Well, I'll use myself as an example.
Okay.
So as far as the agency goes, one thing I love about our program is the requirement is 4 hours a month, and that you're matched for a minimum of 1 year. So for those 4 hours a month, Big Brothers Big Sisters plans 2 of those. So in January every year, it's National Mentoring Month. We go to Cone Park. So we pay for that, and we invite all of our bigs and littles for a night of sledding and pizza. We just went to Roll-A-Rama. We're going up to Briarcliff University, and the football players are going to put on a match activity, a minute to win it. So every month we're looking for some creative things to do. We go to the Art Center every year for a project. We try to take them to the Orpheum to a show. We try to do things that a lot of kids, these kids don't have access. It might not be a regular thing they get to do. So I already know that once a month something's planned. So I just had to come up with one other activity for Ejane and I to do. That's my little sister. We just got our nails done, so that's kind of a treat.
That's a big deal.
You don't have to spend money and do things like that, but every once in a while I'll treat her and we'll get her nails done because she doesn't get to do things like that. She loves Starbucks, so that's another. Sometimes we do Starbucks. She saved some money and bought me Starbucks. Wow. This time. I know, and she was so proud. It was so funny. Okay. It was a treat. So we plan something every month, and then you just have to come up with one activity for yourself and your little.
Well, we're coming up on our break right now, so continue your early morning chill. We'll be right back with more of When Things Aren't Going Well, right here on 1360 AM, 90.9 FM, KSCJ.
Let's face it, it happens to all of us. However, the pandemic has compounded all of our lives and activities. Even the simplest tasks seem harder. Hi, I'm Brenda Geisinger, the Chief Operating Officer at the Boys and Girls Home and Family Services. Family Services is a United Way partner agency serving children and families of our community, and we're here to help. If you'd like to learn more about Family Services, please contact us via email, website, Facebook, or phone Mary Pickens. At Family Services, we change lives.
Welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well on KSCJ. Here's Art Silva.
Welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well. I'm Art Silva, along with Christy Alt, the Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters. We were just talking about a day, an event, going out, the bigs and littles, some of the things they do together. I'm sure the kids look forward to this, Christy, but also is there a disappointment when the big doesn't show up or cancels?
Yes. When we do a training with a potential big, we really stress consistency. A lot of these kids in our program aren't used to consistency. They might have someone that doesn't show up in their life on time. Maybe they're late to school a lot because maybe a parent can't get them to school, or they're working, or, we have littles that are too young, but they're taking care of their own siblings. So consistency is very important in communication. So, for example, if you say you're going to pick them up at 6 o'clock and you're going to go for a walk and get an ice cream cone, that it's really important that you stay consistent and show up for those activities. And, life happens too. I'm really busy, and I just make sure with my little sister, if something comes up in my life, that I tell her, like, I'm sorry, I can't do this, but I'm going to reschedule. So we're looking for consistency and compassion. We're not looking for someone to replace mom or dad. That's not what this program is. We just did a presentation with a local group, and we have kids in our program that do have a mom and a dad. And a gentleman asked me, well, why would they need your program if they have a mom or dad? And that's a great question, but we're not looking for a mom or a dad. But think about growing your own life, the listeners. Think about mentors in your life. Was it a teacher? Was it a coach? Was it a neighbor? I mean, it can be anybody in your life that was positive that wasn't your mom or dad or your guardian. We all need mentors. So we're not looking for replacements. We're really just looking for individuals to give undivided attention to a child 4 hours a month. And I can speak firsthand that I get just as much out of this program as Ejane does. Sometimes I think even more. She's had to postpone or reschedule on me too because she's 13 now. So her, she's got a social life and she has things that come up. And I miss her. So booking 4 hours a month to spend time with her is easy. We go way over that just because I also enjoy it, and it just feels really good to make a connection. I have a son. I never had a daughter, and it's just a different experience. And I'm an only child, so to have like this little sister, this teenager, and she has a lot of struggles. And for 13 years old, she's 13 going on 30. She's so wise she's almost gotten, I think you know what I mean by this, she's gotten too smart for her age too quickly.
Growing up too fast.
Growing up too fast. And she has a wonderful mother. Her mother is wonderful, and we try to really support the mothers that come, the guardians that come through our program. It takes tremendous courage to walk through a not-for-profit door and say, I need help. My child needs help.
That's the first step and the most important step.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So the guardians and the parents, the foster parents that are in our program, they want the best for their child, and they just need some help. And we're just so proud of this community and the 200 some bigs a year that come through our door and say, I want to be that person.
Well, what happens at 13, at the age out of the program? Do they still maintain contact with their bigs as they go through the busy years of middle school and high school?
Yeah, that's a good question. So with our program, you can stay in our program until high school graduation through 18. We just don't match kids typically after the age of 14.
Gotcha.
Most of the time because a 14-year-old boy doesn't want to be matched, or 15 years old. So usually the kids we match are between the age of 6 and 10, but then they stay in the program. They're kind of on the books, we call it. So every month we're still checking in, but then once they turn 18 and graduate high school, they're no longer in the program. But I looked at that statistic. 75% of the kids that graduate with our program, they continue on with a relationship with their big. We just had a big sister that got married, and her little sister, who's now 21, was a bridesmaid in her wedding. So these relationships are lifelong relationships in most cases.
That's wonderful. What a great support to have as you go through. Those adolescent years can be pretty tough.
Yes.
You kind of got to figure it out on your own. And a lot of times kids don't tell parents everything.
Mm-hmm.
But would they tell a big something? Does the big represent that safe haven where I can tell you what I want to do and give me some feedback?
Yeah. That's
a great mentoring program. And boy,
Yeah.
I wish we had more of that.
Yeah.
And it's so needed right now, especially at that age. I used to think we could get the kids in high school and middle school. Now you have to be around the 3rd or 4th grade
Yes.
to really make an impact on them and create those boundaries that keep them safe in going forward. So it's a tough job. Let me ask you this: have you noticed any stress in the kids' lives, any stress in their families that may come down to the kids and the bigs? When they go out, the kids talk about it?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We have children in our program where one parent may be incarcerated. And we have noticed that, if that parent is released, when they're released from prison, that the temperature of the child changes, the behaviors could change. And one thing I love about our program is once you get matched with a little, it isn't just good luck, let us know how it goes. Check in when you can. We have dedicated social workers that are called match support specialists, and I have one, so I'll use myself as an example. So Kendra is my match support specialist. So every month, Kendra calls me. She calls Ejene. She calls Ejene's parents, and then if necessary, she may be talking to a guidance counselor or a counselor or a teacher to get a full picture on how Ejene's doing. So I've had instances where Ejene acted a certain way, and I wasn't sure how to handle it. I'm not her parent. I'm not her therapist. I'm her friend. I'm her big sister. So I didn't, in that moment, react to really anything other than supporting her where she was at. But then I was able to talk to Kendra, who's a social worker, who's experienced. Kendra, this happened. What advice do you give me as her big sister? How should I have handled it? How did I do? What should I do in the future? And if there are sticky situations, which we've had before, where there's a safety issue, we are mandatory reporters. So as a big sister, I don't have to do anything. I call my match support specialist. If there's a safety issue, then she will spring into action and do Now, these things are very rare in our program. For the most part, we don't have a lot of issues like that because the kids we serve, and I know the kids that you serve, they're good kids.
Oh, wonderful.
They're
kids.
wonderful kids. We have kids come in and say, I'm damaged. I have this. You're not damaged. You're wonderful. And we love you and we're glad you're here. And it is amazing just when you tell a child that, like, I'm here for you. Look me in the eye. I'm here for you. It can change their whole world.
We hear a lot of times that at Boys and Girls Home that our kids are there for conduct disorder. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Our kids, all of our kids are victims. And we just get them back on their feet, understand the coping skills they need, make sure the education happens, and try to build some good boundaries for them to thrive in. The home situation varies
Yeah.
from very good to very bad. But we need parent and parental cooperation really to make this work.
Yeah.
So we've seen some wonderful things happen. And just like in Big Brothers, Big Sisters, what a good safety net that you provide. There's help out there. People, if you need to have your child or you know somebody that could use the services of Big Brothers, Big Sisters, you need to give them a call. But before we do that and get your information out, Christy, tell us something about your fundraising. You know, in nonprofits, no cash, no mission.
Right.
So you got to kind of get out there. We face the same thing. So let's talk about your fundraising.
Okay. Yes. Well, we don't charge for our services. So everything is 100% free to the parent that brings their child in. So, of course, that means we have to rely on fundraisers and the community. So we are a proud United Way agency. We also are supported by the state of Iowa. We have an IDPH grant every year that supports our matches. And then the rest of it is through private donations and fundraisers. We do 3 fundraisers. We're getting ready. We're doing one right now. It's snowing out, but we have a plant sale. So during COVID, I was on a call with other Big Brothers, Big Sisters across the region. And one of the executive directors said, well, we expected this, but our plant sale didn't do very well. We only raised $75,000. And I wrote it down and I called him, and they've been doing this for 35 years. I'd like to say we do $75,000, but we don't. But we do a plant sale that supports it. We do a holiday tour of homes that's been in the community for 40 years. And then we do a bowl for kids' sake. And then the rest, we just rely on donations. We get donations just come in unsolicited. And then we have a lot of people in this community that lift us up financially, and we're just so grateful. We couldn't do it without that support.
Well, if someone wanted to get a hold of you for services or donation, how should they do that?
The easiest, if you want to sign your child up or you're interested in just learning more about being a big brother or big sister, just go to our website, bigbrothersbigsisters.com. You click on enroll a child or I want to be a big, and you can start filling out the information there. Or you can just give us a call, 712-239-9890. Again, it's no pressure. If you just want to call and find out, am I a good fit for the program? We don't want to put anybody in the program that doesn't have the time to do it at this point in your life. So we just provide information, and if it works out, great. There's lots of kids that could use your help.
Well, we're coming up towards the end of our show, and every week we end our show with a joke. So humor is medicine for the soul. So here's our joke for the week. Why did a student eat his homework? Because his teacher told him it was a piece of cake. I want to give a shout out to Ben Nesselhoff for being a good big.
Yes.
And let's give credit right there. So way to go, Ben. You set a great example. Also, don't forget to visit the new and improved Stuff Store. Also, Boys and Girls Home and Family Services. We're looking for teachers. We're taking a team teaching approach, smaller classes, and an assistant in every room. If you're interested, please give our HR manager a call at 293-2700. I want to thank Christy for coming in today and sharing the information on Big Brothers, Big Sisters, another great program we have in our community supporting families and children. So, Christy, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. When things aren't going well, we'll air next Saturday morning at 7 a.m. right here on 1360 AM, 90.9 FM, KSCJ. Your homework this week is to go out and have a good laugh. May the sun shine on you. Peace.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
For more information on the services provided by Boys and Girls Home and Family Services, see them online at boysandgirlshomeiowa.org. Or you can call 712-293-4700 to get more information about family services, residential treatment, the Opportunity School, the Siouxland Family Center, and more. At Boys and Girls Home and Family Services, we change lives. We change lives. We change lives. We